If you ever thought that delegating tasks would destroy your career, it will. Hello. It is your resident company culture expert, Baxter from Misfit Island. And today we continue our series in the 12 D's of leadership as we explore the big, bad, bold world of delegation. Now, if you don't know my story, I've been in customer and user experience research for over a decade, but prior to that, I spent over a decade as a filmmaker. One of the reasons I talk about my days in filmmaking so much is because they not only hold fond memories, but I really learned a lot of things about trust and responsibility, about shared opportunities and collaborating. And while sometimes filmmaking gets a bad rap for having too many egos, I look back upon it and remember so many people who were really humble and very supportive of each other. Some of the most successful productions were the ones where leadership delegated responsibility. Now, like I said in the beginning, it can actually be detrimental to your career if your career is built upon going solo, doing it yourself, never trusting others to be able to join in the journey with you. Essentially, you create yourself as a silo and exclude other people in that journey, which means you can't learn from them and therefore you can't grow. And if you're not growing, then you're probably dying. If you're not living, you're dying. So the idea that you're constantly striving to live your fullest life, including while you're working and where you're working, is an important factor. So let's dig into delegation a little bit more, because what's probably happening is that you're doing it wrong. You are delegating responsibilities that you really shouldn't to people you really shouldn't delegate it to at a time that's probably not the best time to delegate. And that's a career killer. People follow leaders. And so if you don't have anyone following you, then you're probably not leading. And I'm not talking about social media followers. I mean people who believe in your vision, who trust your direction and want to see you succeed because they know that when you succeed, they succeed. People want to see your values and how it applies to the organization you're leading. So from my experience, these are the two barriers to delegating. One, you believe you're the only one that could accomplish the task. And two, you're afraid of failure or don't want to put in the effort to create room for failure. And these are two things that are stagnating to you being the best leader you can be, because you can't do it alone. There's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. You need other people to come alongside you. And if you don't provide the opportunity for them to grow, then how are they going to walk alongside you? So when you delegate, keep these 4 things in mind. 1, have the right set of tasks and responsibilities that you can delegate. 2, provide clear instructions and deadlines and understanding of what needs to be done. 3, make sure it's a good fit for the person you want to delegate to. It should match their growth aspirations, it should match their interest, and it should match the time that they have available to give to the task. Typically, they may be working on something else. You want to delegate a certain subset of tasks that make sense for them, but they're overwhelmed and can't really fit it in. They don't have the bandwidth. And the 4th one is understanding the risks. If you give them a high profile, heavy risk without the right support and they fail, how much will that impact them and how much will that impact you? You need to give them something that has a little bit of wiggle room, which means that if it doesn't go exactly according to plan, it's not going to be catastrophic. Not to you, not to them, and not to the company. Not everyone is in the right position to take on the tasks that you want to delegate. They may lack a certain set of skills. They may lack a certain set of experiences. They may lack the time and the bandwidth in which to accomplish those tasks. So consider that before you delegate. And then you have to be clear. Clear communication. Brené Brown says, clear is kindness. So be kind to them and kind to yourself by giving clarity. If they need some training, if they need some management as they begin the task, go ahead and make that clear that you're going to operate in that relationship. And then as you start seeing progress, release them. Give them the freedom to make some mistakes, to check in and provide a feedback loop so that they can continue to grow and accomplish the task better and more efficient. And you continue to let go as trust is established. Make sure you understand their strength and skills. If they don't have the proper skills or they're not strong in that area, really consider if this is the right task or responsibility to delegate. Perhaps you need to find someone else. Perhaps you need to give some time for them to be trained before they can take on that opportunity. Be sure that they get to participate in the success of the projects. Make sure that they're receiving the proper accolades and recognition for a job well done. And when you check in with them, make sure it's clear how you're going to check in with them. Are you going to check in weekly, daily, hourly? How much freedom do they have? Make sure your door is open so they can come and ask the appropriate questions and not feel like they're bothering you. The investments that you make at the beginning of a project will pay dividends for a long time. This will give you the space and the ability to do other things, especially at that higher level if you're a leader. Trust your team, trust your support network to be there to handle the responsibilities that you delegate. Now here's one more key. As they start getting more comfortable, they may want to reach out and do other things. You have to continue to evaluate if you're putting them in the best position to succeed. And if not, have a plan for how to get them there. Don't let that energy, that inspiration, that aspiration fall away and die. Continue to feed it and to stoke it and to spur them on so that they can do great things. That's the mark of a great leader. When you delegate the right set of tasks, they shouldn't be ones that really you should do. You have to make sure you're delegating the appropriate task that makes sense to give to someone else, that puts them in the best position to succeed. This is where you really have to evaluate the risk. If this is mission critical, you need to own it. If this is something that gives them the opportunity to maybe not do the very best that you would hope, but they can learn and they can grow, that's a good task to delegate. Make sure you understand the time that's required and communicate that clearly. I remember a manager giving me a task, and I was under the assumption, because I was novice at the time and didn't ask enough questions, that I had way more time than their expectations. The lack of communication and the lack of bandwidth that I had to accomplish it in the time that they needed caused a problem for both of us, and that was not a good situation. So now that the stage is set, I hope you feel more comfortable with delegating responsibilities. Remember, they have to be the right responsibilities, not ones that you should do. They need to go to the right person, someone that has some level of understanding of how to accomplish it, that's open to being coached and getting the proper feedback so that they can get better. It has to match what they're interested in and where they want to grow. They have to have the bandwidth. It should be a win-win opportunity for them and you. And this helps the entire organization. We hope you're enjoying this series. Go ahead and like this video if you found it to be valuable. Subscribe to the channel, ring that bell so that you don't miss another video when it's released. We want to help a lot of people really build strong company cultures with good leadership that knows that they are in the right place because you are making an investment in them. That's the latest from Misfit Island. Be sure to reach out to us if we can serve you in your company culture needs.